Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. So we have now Mamta Mataji, Vidura Prabhu, Sujata Mataji. Everybody can hear me and see me?
Yes, Prabhu.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, good. So we can see that Srila Prabhupada has taken a sannyas and he has moved to Vrindavan. He's staying in Vrindavan at Bamsi Gopalji temple, and then he is traveling very frequently between Vrindavan and to other surrounding places. As a sannyasi, his name becomes A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada. But his basic problem, even after becoming sannyasi, is that he wants to print the books, but he has no money. He wants to broadcast the message of Godhead, but very few people are willing to listen to him. And the same thing continues. The things haven't changed even after becoming a sannyasi or a monk, right? So, Srila Prabhupada, he, as a devotee of Lord Krishna and follower of his Guru's instruction, he want to write books in English, emphasizing the permanence compared to the newspaper. So now he is thinking that he should start writing the books rather than just publishing Back to Garden magazine. Because magazines sometimes, people read, but it's not the permanent thing. He wanted to write the books. So he thought of starting translating Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And an Indian army officer who read the Back to Godhead magazine of Srila Prabhupada also gave suggestion that he should write the book rather than Back to Godhead magazine, on just the Back to Godhead magazine. So Bhaktivedanta Swami regarded these instances as revelations and blessings from his spiritual master. So he started writing or translating English translation of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. He considered Bhagavatam as the most authoritative Vaishnava scripture. So following the examples of previous acharyas like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who had translated Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam into English language, not English language, Sanskrit and Bengali languages they have translated. So now Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada decided to translate it in English. And he started this translation work in English. So he believed publishing an English translation could enhance his preaching and enable him confidently to go abroad. So Srila Prabhupada, now the next mission of his life is to translate Bhagavatam from Sanskrit to English. Now, at the same time, while he is staying in Vrindavan at Bamsi Gopalji temple, Gaurachanda Goswami of Radha Damodar temple in Vrindavan, he invited Bhaktivedanta Swami to live at Inspiring Radha Damodar temple, which is the home of Jiva and Rupa Goswami. And if you have visited Vrindavan, then the Srila Prabhupada's room is still there in Radha Damodar temple. It's very nicely renovated. This time I went to Vrindavan, and I saw it very beautifully done, very beautifully decorated room. So this room at Sri Radha Damodar temple, he was offered 2 rooms, but they were in poor condition. So Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada at that time decided to rent those rooms, even they were not in good condition, at the rent of 5 rupees per month. And then he said, I will renovate this room by doing some plaster and electricity work, which was coming around 500 rupees. But despite the poor state of the room, Bhaktivedanta Swami agreed to take the room just because he believed that there is a blessing of Sri Radha Damodar, the original place of the deities of six Goswamis. Original writings also were there, and Jeev Goswami and Rup Goswami, this was the place where their blessings were there. So he decided to stay at Radha Damodar temple after the repair work is done. So meanwhile, Prabhupada travels to Delhi for preaching, and there's one temple there which is Radha Krishna temple in Chippivada neighborhood of Old Delhi. So Krishna Pandit, he was known to Prabhupada. So he donated a room in his Radha Krishna temple in Delhi so that Prabhupada can stay there. And he had a permanent office address in Delhi in Chippivada. Actually, if you read the translation of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, in the first volume, he writes Chippivada. So that is where Prabhupada started translating Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Now, why he go to Delhi? Because Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur emphasized that preachers should engage outreach in big cities rather than staying in the holy place like Vrindavan or something like that. Sometimes the devotees, they become bhajananandi, but in Vedic, in our ISKCON organization, the devotees are Goshti Anandi. So the importance of preaching is very much appreciated by the devotees. So Prabhupada decided to travel to Delhi, and he didn't like the big cities, but then he decided to travel to Delhi, and preaching was his main, Krishna consciousness preaching. There were some businessmen whom he knew who liked to host, because they thought that Abhay Charan or A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, he was a Hindu sannyasi, so they wanted to help him out. So in this way, everybody was trying to help here and there to Srila Prabhupada, and he has now a permanent office in Delhi in Chippivada area. He stayed there. The Chippivada temple was like a humble accommodation where there was a room which was bare room. There was not much of a furniture, a little bit of light there, dusty atmosphere, but and very crowded place in Chippivada. Not very quiet place for writing books, like translating the books like Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. But still he decided to stay there because he was offered a free accommodation. Now this Abhay Charanaravinda Swami, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, he has no money to buy even the food or the grocery, and now he's translating the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam in English. So he writes a letter here. He says that, I am pleased to write herein that I have come to Delhi from my headquarters in Vrindavan purely on the spiritual mission to propagate the cult of devotional service to the Lord. So he's staying in this Radha Krishna temple in Chippivada in Delhi, but he says that this is purely a spiritual mission to propagate the service of the Lord. And I'm pleased to mention herewith that Shriman Shri Krishna Sharma, who was helping him out in Delhi, and he gave him a title, Hari Bhaktanudas. Prabhupada gave him a title because this Krishna Sharma in Delhi was helping Prabhupada to stay there in Delhi, give him some grocery for cooking, and he was like a assistant or secretary to him. So he has provided me a suitable room for my literary activities. I'm publishing an English fortnightly magazine named Back to Godhead from this place, and the Naval Prem Sabha, of which Sri Krishna ji is arranging for my daily lectures on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So here, while in Delhi, he is writing Back to Godhead magazine. He's started translating the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and he is also giving lectures on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So while staying in the temple, Prabhupada realizes that what should be the purpose of a temple. Vidura Prabhu, you want to read this?
Sure, Prabhuji. Letter. Temples should be used solely for educating the public in spiritual values, and that it was his personal mission to organize temples for that service. Temples are not meant for ordinary householders engaged simply in the matters of animal propensities.
So Prabhupada, when he was saying, thank you, Prabhuji, when he was staying in Sri Radha Krishna temple in Chippawada in Delhi, he realized that people were living in the temple, but they were doing all the materialistic activities in the temple. So here Prabhupada is saying that people who are living in the temple, they should not live there just like a householders. It should be purely for the Krishna service, and all the purpose of the temples should be for the education. The temple should be the educational institute. That was a firm belief of Srila Prabhupada from the beginning. Those who are actually engaged in the service of Lord, deity, the predominator of the temple, can only be allowed to remain in the temple, otherwise not. So you should not stay in the temple if you are not serving the deities, or if you're not participating in the temple service. Then don't stay in the temple. And then Prabhupada ji now is translating. Now, Prabhupada ji also innovated way of preaching he discovered. And he was writing articles in Back to Godhead magazine. Now, at that time in 1959, there was people were talking about space travels, and there were quite a few people were very much into the Sputnik, and Russia had spent the mission into the space. So everybody was talking about the space. And so there was an article published in Times of India, and Prabhupada read an article where scientists were receiving a Nobel Prize for discovering the for the discoveries related to the space science. So Prabhupada took the most recent topic and was writing in the Back to Godhead magazine. But that time he thought that he should write a book about the outer space travel, and he first book he wrote was the Easy Journey to Other Planets, because everybody was interested in the space science that time. So Prabhupada ji thought that, Srimad-Bhāgavatam has a wonderful description about the spiritual world. So Prabhupada ji decided to write a book, and he also published the similar articles about the travel to the outer space in his Back to Godhead magazine. So you can see that Prabhupada ji is very much interested in publishing. He is very much interested in writing. Right? So he first book ever he published was The Easy Journey to Other Planets in 1960. This was the paperback edition, and he was very successful in publishing this book. And he distributed the book also, this one. There was in the book, a famous professor and the chancellor of University of Delhi, he wrote a foreword. Sujata Mataji, you want to read this?
Yes, Guruji. A forward by
Sorry, couldn't hear you. Sujata Mataji, are you speaking?
Yes, Raj, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah. A forward by Dr. N.K. Siddhanta, Vice Chancellor of the University of Delhi. While everyone may gain from it, the student community in particular is recommended to read the book with care and practice Bhakti Yoga, which will help to strengthen the mind and build up character. I shall be glad to see this work read by read by the students and the teachers alike.
Thank you, Mataji. So this was a forward by a professor, N.K. Siddhanta. This book, Easy Journey to Other Planets, was about 38-page book. And this was the first publication aside from Back to Godhead magazine. And Back to Godhead also was like a one-page folded by paper publication, right? It was like a one-page folded into a very small publication. Prabhupada tried to distribute the book. He gave the book to many famous people, and this was the one of the university professor or chancellor who read the book, and he wrote a foreword in this book that this is a really nice book. Then Prabhupada ji also at that time in the Back to Godhead magazine, he was writing articles relevant to the topics at that particular time. So there was a speech by Prime Minister Nehru at that time, and he criticized the misuse of public funds in the name of religion. So Srila Prabhupada wrote an article in Back to Godhead magazine about godless civilization. And in this article, Prabhupada commented about Prime Minister Nehru's this criticism about religion and misuse of funds in the name of religion. But Prabhupada wrote in this article that, of course, there was a fraud among the religious leaders. But he argued in the article that political corruption outnumbered the religious corruption. So Prabhupada in the article wrote that Nehru should not just criticize the religious institutes for some sort of a corruption, because there were some institutes doing, but not majority of them. Very minority of them were doing. But then political corruption was widespread. So Bhaktivedanta Swami emphasized in his article in Back to Godhead magazine that the effective reform should include the spiritualization of the government institutes as well and government leaders as well. So he suggested Prime Minister Nehru to study Bhagavad Gita. And he wrote a letter also to Nehru, but he never got a reply. Prabhupada criticized Nehru's view that all the spiritual organizations were suspicious and they were misusing the funds. That he did not agree with Nehru. Swami Bhaktivedanta Swami reassured Nehru not to fear God or Krishna, presenting Krishna as everyone's friend, because that time it was a fashion or a modernization. To believe in the God was like a retrograde or regressive approach in the name of modernization. So Prabhupada ji wrote to Nehru that in the name of modernization we should not forget Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada also argued in a letter that problems of immorality and social breakdown were symptoms of godlessness in the civilization worldwide. So Prabhupada ji emphasized in his writing in the Back to Godhead magazine, as well as to the political leaders, that spiritualization or God realization is very important for a society to work in a very proper way. So Prabhupada always was writing in his article in Back to Godhead magazine the topics related to the modern world or the topics at that time. So while Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam he was translating at Chippewada, um, his schedule was very tight, So here Krishna Pandit, who was there in Chippewada, who was assisting him, wrote this about Srila Prabhupada. Mamta Mataji, can you read this? Mamta Mataji, are you there? Maybe Vidura Prabhu can read.
Sure, Prabhuji. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Krishna Pandit. He used to translate Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam before dawn, about 3 a.m. In the beginning, there was no typewriter, but then he arranged a portable typewriter. He would do his daily work and then cook his food himself. I arranged raw materials for his cooking. Sometimes he used to come to my family asking my wife to get some food. Sometimes he would also bath at 5 or 6 in the afternoon.
So here you can see that now Srila Prabhupada ji is translating the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and he's getting up early in the morning, sometimes before 3 a.m. and he's translating Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam from Sanskrit to English. And his method was very simple. He used to have Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam in Sanskrit language, then used to have the commentary on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and all the acharyas. And then he used to translate. Now, in the beginning, there was no typewriter, right? So he used to write with his hand. But, and in writing, printing, editing, everything he used to do by himself in Chippewada temple. Now, he's the person who has no money, and Krishna Pandit is also getting some food for him, grocery for him, so that Prabhupada can cook food for himself, and he never took the food cooked by other. He cooked for himself. So cooking, writing, managing his daily work, lots of hard life for Srila Prabhupada. For whom? Why is taking all this trouble for all of us, so that we can read Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. The trouble Srila Prabhupada took to translate this Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is beyond our comprehension. So it's our duty now to read this hard work of Srila Prabhupada, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. He did it for our benefit of all of us, right? Every day he was typing, and he himself was reading Bhagavatam. And he was going down in the temple for darshan. Then he was going outside, sometimes returning 2 or 4 in the afternoon. Then he was typing again, sending the books, proofs of Back to Godhead to a place and checking them. He was doing by hand all this type of work. His main activity was typing many hours of the day. So here we can see this sannyasi, old man, spending most of this time in typing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam from Sanskrit language, from Bengali Bhagavatam, edited by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. He is translating that into English language. And as I said, he had a standard format. So he used to read the Sanskrit, write in Sanskrit. Then he used to write in transliteration. So he used to write or type from Sanskrit into English, transliteration. Then he used to type word by word translation of each of the word of the shloka. Then translation of the whole shloka. And then he used to write the purport. And he used to do it everything by one man. Nowadays we have the computers. So it's easy for us, but Prabhupada is doing all by himself. Vidura Prabhu, what do you think about this hard work of Srila Prabhupada?
It's beyond imagination.
Isn't it? Staying in a room in Delhi, in the Chippewada, which is like a dusty area, a lot of crowded people, crowded population there. The room has a dusty environment. There is no enough light in the room. There's no furniture in the room. He's sitting on the floor in the one corner of the temple where the surroundings are not even good. And he's translating this word, typing word by word from Sanskrit into English language. Unbelievable work. What do you think? This is, I mean, lots of work, right? And he's taking the commentaries of all the Goswamis, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Jiva Goswami, Sridhar Swami. He's taking all the commentary of Acharyas, reading them, and then translating is a lot of work. What we have now, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, is a tremendous work by Srila Prabhupada. We just can't even imagine. And what was the size of the work? So here is the volume of the work emphasized by Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, this is what work he guessed. Maybe Mamta Mataji, if you can hear me, do you want to read?
Yes, Prabhuji, I can hear you. The size of the work. He contemplated the size of the project he was attempting. The Bhagavatam contained 18,000 verses. The first canto, 17 chapters, would fill 3 volumes of 400 pages each, and the second canto with 10 chapters would take 2 volumes. Up to 9th canto, there would be maybe 30 volumes. Hare Krishna.
Okay, go ahead further.
The 10th canto, containing 19 chapters, would take 20 volumes. There were 12 cantos, and so the total would be at least 60 volumes. He thought he might be able to finish it in 5 to 7 years if the Lord keeps me physical fit. Then in the fulfillment of Śrīla Prabhupada, well, I could complete this work.
Hare Krishna. You see, Prabhupada is estimating the time and the number of volumes of the work he is going to do. So he's saying that the size of the project of translating Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, first canto, 3 volumes. Second canto with 2 volumes. And up to 9th canto, there will be up to 30 volumes. And then he's estimating that 10th canto, there will be 20 volumes. And the total number of volumes of these 12 cantos will be 60 volumes of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Now, Srila Prabhupada, now at this time, what we have is like 12 cantos, 18 volumes, the current edition of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. But the original proposition by Srila Prabhupada was 60 volumes, sorry. And he was thinking that he could finish everything in 5 to 7 years if Krishna keeps him well. And he can finish his Guru Maharaj's mission. So a lot of work by Srila Prabhupada, lot of work, beyond our imagination. We know that foreign invaders of India could break down some of the monumental architectural work in India, but they were unable to break up the perfect ideal of human civilization, so far kept hidden secret within Sanskrit language of Vedic wisdom. So Srila Prabhupada ji is now thinking that he should spread this message of Vedic literature, which was kept so much secret, now to the Western world. The Westerners, the foreigners, they destroyed many of the monuments, but they could not take away or destroy the Vedic or Sanskrit literature. So now Srila Prabhupada's idea is that he wants to distribute this literature to all over the world. And despite all difficulties, he is continuing translating Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Srila Prabhupada writes, the Communist Party has become popular simply by distributing their literature. In Calcutta, the communist agents were inviting friends and reading their literature. The Russians never came to India, but by distributing the literature in every language, they got a pretty good number of followers. If it is possible for ordinary third class mundane literature, why shouldn't transcendental literature create devotees all over the world? Here is Prabhupada's idea. Prabhupada is thinking these Russians, they distributed socialism all over just by literature. Then why can't we distribute Krishna consciousness through the literature? And that is the sole mission of Srila Prabhupada, to spread Krishna consciousness through the literature. Vidura Prabhu, you want to read this?
Sure, Prabhuji. Sankirtan. There is good potency for pushing on these literatures very vigorously from village to village. The Bhagavad Dharma is the original religion of the human society. Whatever else may be passing as the religion has come from the Vedic literature. People are after these books. They are hankering for them.
Go ahead, Prabhu.
Lord Chaitanya said that in every town and village on the surface of the world, they will know the message of the Sankirtan movement. This means that in every village and town all over the world, there are many candidates who are awaiting this message. It is transcendental literature. Nobody can challenge it. It is done so nicely without any spot, the spotless Purana.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So here, Srila Prabhupada is insisting on that through the literature only we can propagate Krishna consciousness. There is no other way. That's the Brihad Mridanga. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also stressed preaching, and preaching means books. The best book was Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And to write and publish Bhagavatam for the enlightenment of the general people, general population, was the real service to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That was Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's opinion. And Srila Prabhupada took this mission, Abhay Charana Arvinda Swami Prabhupada, he took this mission to his heart and he said, no matter what, I will translate this Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam from Sanskrit into English and spread all over the message to all over the world. That was his. He had, like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also preferred publishing the books over building the temples. And he had specifically told to his disciples that publish the books if you get ever money. And that was the last instruction of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj to Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada took it to his heart. And he wanted to publish the book. And that was Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam work he was doing. It was real hard work. Day and night, Srila Prabhupada typed at his desk beneath the small adjustable light that dangled from the ceiling on its cord. He sat on a thin mat. Pages accumulated and he kept them in a place with stone. Food and sleep, although necessary, were only incidental while he was translating. You see that? He is doing this very hard work of translating Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam in a very humble atmosphere. And he was completely convinced. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Please come, have a seat. Darshan will open in some minute. He was completely convinced that Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam would create revolution in the misdirected civilization. He translated each word of Bhagavatam and gave purport with exacting care and concentration. But another challenge was that he had to do it as soon as possible because the time was limited for Srila Prabhupada. Now, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj had many disciples, and every year they used to gather for Vyasapuja offering. Currently also we have a Vyasapuja offering every year to our Guru Maharaj. So in 1960s, there was a Vyasapuja offering in Vrindavan. All the god brothers had accumulated. Now, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had instructed all these god brothers, all his disciples and god brothers of Prabhupada, that they spread the message of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and Chaitanya Charitamrita. But they were all fighting among themselves. So Srila Prabhupada wrote an offering, and here is the offering. Maybe Sujata Mata, do you want to read this?
Vyasapuja offering. Even now, my God brothers, you return here on the order of our master, and together we engage in his puja, in this puja. But simply a festival of flowers and fruits does not constitute worship. The one who serves the message of the Guru really worships him. Even now, no. Oh shame, my dear brothers, aren't you embarrassed? In the manner of businessman, you increase your disciples.
Thank you, Mataji. So Prabhupada ji is making an offering, and he's saying to his god brother that real worship or real offering to Guru will be to spread the message, engage in preaching, rather than all the god brothers were engaged in self interest. So Prabhupada ji further writes, our master said to preach. Let the neophyte remain inside the temple and simply ring the bell. But just take a good look at the terrible situation that is arising. Everyone has become a sense enjoyer and has given up the preaching. From the seas across the earth, penetrate the universal shell, come together and preach Krishna consciousness. Then our master service will be proper order. Make your promise today. Give up all the politics and engage in his service of preaching mission. So in 1961, in the Vyasapuja offering of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Bhaktivedanta Swami, he requested his god brothers, we all come together and propagate the message of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Further he says, when will the day come when a temple will be established in every house in every corner of the world? When will the High Court judge be a Gaudiya Vaishnava with tilak beautifully decorating his forehead? When will a Vaishnava winning the votes be elected as a president of land and preaching be spread everywhere? So here is having a dream that there should be a temple in every house in every corner of the world. Even the people on the high position, like judges or president or prime minister, should also be the devotees of Lord. That is the dream of Srila Prabhupada. So at that time, in January 1961, Bhaktivedanta Swami got an opportunity to go to Japan actually. There was a congress for cultivating human spirit in Tokyo, where he was invited to speak on how should one cultivate the human spirit. So Srila Prabhupada decided to go there, and the Congress organizer led by Mr. What is his name? Toshihiro Nakano assured him that he will arrange his accommodation, everything in Japan. And for that, Prabhupada thought that he will go there and present. But problem was the money for the flight, right? He had no money. Before that, he planned that he will go to Japan, and he said what he will present. So he said that he will present from 12th canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam some commentaries and illustrations based on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 12th canto. And he titled this little book publication as The Light of Bhagavat. And there he said that he will write the commentary on Bhagavatam and the spiritual message, and Japanese people will make the art based on this. So he designed this book, Light of Bhagavatam. But despite his enthusiasm and preparation, he couldn't raise the money. He wrote to the government of India for giving him a help. He wrote to the Vice President of India, Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. He knew actually some of these famous people, but nobody helped him to go to Japan at that time. So that dream remained incomplete. And then Prabhupada then returned from Delhi to Radha Damodar temple in 1962. And that's where all the Samadhi of Rup Goswami, Jiva Goswami is there. So now he's paying the rent here, 5 rupees per month in 1962, right? A very significant amount at that time. And he's staying there, he's cooking, and he's also translating his Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam there. Now the environment in the temple is very amazing here. The location allowed him to feel closer to the Goswami's teaching, as he could see Samadhi of Rupa Goswami and the altar with ancient deities worshipped by Jiva Goswami, all from his quarters. Early morning, he used to write, like he used to get up 1 a.m. and translate Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And while he was there, he could take the darshan of he could feel the presence of 6 Goswamis. He used to take the darshan of deities worshipped by the great Goswamis. He used to get inspired by taking darshan of Samadhi of Rup Goswami and Jiva Goswami. So it was very inspiring atmosphere. Ever you go to the Radha Damodar temple, still it is amazing atmosphere there. And the sole purpose he was staying in Vrindavan, here is a very nice paragraph here. He had not come to Vrindavan to die and return to Godhead. Rather, he had come because it was an ideal place to gain spiritual strength for his main life's work. The exact shape of his future mission, Bhaktivedanta Swami did not know, but he did know that he must prepare himself for preaching Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam to the English-speaking Western world. He must become perfectly equipped in the instrument of his masters, and if they desired, they would send him. So that is why he was there in Vrindavan. He was not in Vrindavan for self-interest. He was in Vrindavan for translating the message of Bhagavatam, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And that is what Srila Prabhupada did, translating the first 3 volumes of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And then he continues his hard work. But still the life is not easy for Prabhupada while in Vrindavan also. So here it ends the 10th chapter of Prabhupada Leelamrita. Srila Prabhupada ki